My alarm blared at 4 a.m., but I was already wide awake, adrenaline coursing through me. Today was the day. The day I was taking my parents on their dream vacation. And mine, too, of course. A whole week in Cancun, at one of those all-inclusive resorts with the fancy wristbands, a beachfront bungalow. I'd saved every penny from my teacher's salary for the past 3 years, given up so much, worked overtime, grading stacks of papers late into the night, all to see their faces light up. The rental car, specially booked for the occasion, was gassed up and my bags were in the trunk. Mine, at least. I pulled up to my parents' house at 5 a.m. sharp, giving a soft honk. My mom appeared on the porch, wearing a floral bathrobe, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "You're a little late, dear," she said, and I glanced at the dashboard clock. 5:03. 3 minutes, Mom. I tried to keep my spirits high. But then the door opened again, and out she came, Jessica, my younger sister, dragging a hot pink suitcase bigger than she was. My smile froze. What's going on?" I stammered, my voice failing me. My mom walked over, her smile now a mix of guilt and condescension. "Oh, Chloe, honey, we decided Jessica should go instead of you. You know how it is. She's been so stressed with that college degree she never seems to finish. She really needs to get away." The air left my lungs. "Instead of me? Mom, I planned this for years. I paid for every installment, every extra tour, the airport transfer." She waved her hand dismissively, as if I were talking about buying a loaf of bread. "And we appreciate it so much, sweetheart, truly. But you're always working, aren't you? So focused. You can take another trip later. Jessica needs this now." Jessica, who didn't even bother to look embarrassed, just gave a smug little smirk, flicking her hair. "Thanks for understanding, sis," she chimed in, her voice dripping with a gratitude that sounded more like a taunt. I stared at them both, my heart pounding erratically, a cold anger starting to rise in my chest. My dad emerged a moment later, avoiding eye contact, as he handed me his suitcase. "This can't be happening," I managed to say, my voice trembling. "This was supposed to be our trip, something for me to share with you. And it still is, dear, just with Jessica instead. Don't make a big deal out of it, Chloe. Your sister really needs a break." If they wanted to prioritize her over me, fine. They could go with her, but I wasn't about to let them enjoy it at my expense. No way. The drive to JFK Airport felt like an eternity. A heavy silence broken only by Jessica's incessant chatter. "Oh my God, Mom, did you see that influencer's post from Cancun? I'm already picturing the photos we're gonna take. Think we'll have time to buy some new cover-ups at the airport? Or are the resort shops better?" My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight, my knuckles were white. I stared straight ahead, forcing myself not to explode. She chuckled softly. "Of course we'll have time, sweetie. We'll figure it out when we get there." I bit my lip hard. When we get there. It was like they didn't even notice I wasn't part of that we anymore. At one point, my dad cleared his throat from the passenger seat. "Thanks for driving us, Chloe. I know this must feel awkward." I glanced at him in the rearview mirror. "Awkward? That's an interesting way to put it, Dad." He didn't respond, just shifted uncomfortably in his seat, probably wishing he hadn't spoken. Jessica leaned forward from the back, her voice annoyingly cheerful. "You're not mad, right? Like, seriously, this is really cool of you, letting me go. I could never afford a trip like this on my own." I clenched my jaw and forced a tight smile. "Of course, Jessica. Have a great time." By the time we finally pulled up to the terminal drop-off, my patience was hanging by a thread. As I helped unload their luggage, my mom gave me a quick hug. Thank you for understanding, sweetie. This means a lot to us, and to Jessica. I nodded stiffly. You're welcome, Mom. Jessica beamed, wheeling her colorful suitcase towards the entrance. Thanks, Chloe, you're the best. I stood there watching them disappear through the sliding doors, my chest tight with anger and a pain that cut deep. The drive back home was a blur. I replayed the conversation in my head, each word a fresh stab. This means a lot to Jessica. You're not mad, right? You're always working so hard. I parked in my driveway and sat in the car for a few minutes, gripping the steering wheel until my hands ached. Then, without a second thought, I marched into the house, fired up my laptop, and logged into every travel account I'd used. 5-star all-inclusive resort? Canceled. Catamaran cruise to Isla Mujeres? Refunded. Scuba diving in the coral reef? Nope. I stared at the cancellation confirmation emails piling up in my inbox and felt a small easing of the tightness in my chest. They wanted to take Jessica instead of me? Fine, but they wouldn't be enjoying luxury and perks I had paid for. When I closed my laptop, a sense of cold satisfaction washed over me. They could explain themselves to the resort staff in Mexico. I was done being their doormat. The calls started as soon as their flight must have landed in Cancun. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing while I unpacked my own suitcase, the one I'd so carefully packed for a trip that was no longer mine. The irony wasn't lost on me as I hung my summer dresses back in the closet and put my sandals back on the shelf. The buzzing continued, filling the apartment with its relentless vibration. I sighed, taking up the phone and glancing at the screen. My mom's name flashed, accompanied by a dozen missed calls and texts. I unlocked the phone and read the messages aloud to myself, almost laughing. Chloe, what's going on? The resort won't let us check in. The reservation is missing. Call me ASAP. Chloe, this isn't funny. Fix this now. I bitterly laughed. Fix this? Did they really think I'd swoop in and save the day after what they'd done? The phone buzzed again. This time it was Jessica. I let it go to voicemail so she could leave a message. Chloe, this is so childish of you. We're stuck here because of you. You need to call the resort and sort this out now. I rolled my eyes and deleted the message without listening to the rest. For years, I'd been their fixer, the one who smoothed over every mistake and picked up every slack. Not anymore. Eventually, I decided to answer, more to stop the infernal noise than anything else. My mom's voice hit me like a tidal wave of fury as soon as I said, hello? Chloe, what did you do? The resort says the reservation was canceled and none of the tours are booked. I let her rant for a moment, then replied with utmost calm, I canceled them. There was a long, stunned silence on the other end before she managed to hiss, why would you do something like that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you decided to take Jessica on my trip? And you can be thankful I still paid for your flights there and even drove you to the airport? We thought you'd understand, she snapped back, irritated. Understand what? I asked, my voice starting to rise. That years of saving and planning meant nothing because Jessica needed a vacation? That my hard work meant nothing to you? Guess what, Mom? I don't understand, and I don't care to. I hung up before she could respond and turned off my phone, tossing it on the couch. The silence that followed was blissful. I felt like I could breathe again. If you're enjoying Chloe's turnaround so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the outcome of this story and many others. It's quick, and it helps us out a ton. If they wanted to prioritize Jessica, fine, but they'd have to figure out how to fund the rest of their dream trip without my help. The silence lasted only a day. The next morning, my phone was already blowing up again with calls and messages. At first, I ignored them. I spent the day tidying up, catching up on lesson planning, but by evening, curiosity got the better of me. I opened my phone and braced myself for the barrage of texts from my mom. Chloe, you've gone too far. Your sister is in tears and your father is furious. We can't get into any of the hotels you booked. Last-minute prices are outrageous. From Jessica, you're acting like a spoiled brat. I don't get why you're making such a big deal. Just fix it already. And finally, from my dad, his voice strained in an audio message. "We need to talk. This isn't right. What's gotten into you?" I put the phone down, shaking my head. For years, I'd been the one to fix things, to make sure everyone was comfortable and happy. Now that I'd taken a step back, they didn't know how to handle it. I made myself a cup of herbal tea and sat at the kitchen table, letting the anger simmer. How dare they expect me to clean up their mess? How dare they act like I was the one in the wrong? The next call came minutes later, and this time I answered. "Chloe," my mom barked before I could say a word, "this isn't funny anymore. We're stranded. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is?" I took a slow sip of my tea. Embarrassing? You think this is embarrassing? Try saving for years, planning every detail, and then being told you're not even part of the trip you paid for. "Stop being dramatic," she snapped. "Jessica needed this more than you." "And now she can figure out how to get it," I said firmly. "You made your decision, Mom. You wanted to take Jessica instead of me. Fine, but don't expect me to fund her vacation." "We're family," she hissed. "We don't do this to each other." I let out a bitter laugh. "Funny, I was just thinking the same thing." Jessica's voice whined in the background. "Mom, just hang up on her. She's being impossible." That was the last straw. "Enjoy your trip," I said, my tone icy. "Oh, wait, you can't, because it's not your trip. It was mine, and now it's nobody's. Goodbye." I hung up before she could respond and turned my phone off again. For the rest of the evening, I felt a strange mix of anger and relief. Anger that they'd put me in this position, but relief that I'd finally stood up for myself. They could call me dramatic all they wanted. For the first time in my life, I wasn't letting them take advantage of me. The next few days were surprisingly peaceful with my phone off. On the third day, curiosity won. I turned it on and saw the flood of messages. My mom, hysterical, "You've humiliated us. How could you?" Jessica, arrogant, "This is so petty. Fix it." And my dad, his voice strained, "I don't understand what's happened to you." My mom's last voicemail, exhausted, announced their disastrous return, hoping I was happy. I deleted everything. I wasn't ready to talk. That evening, Amy, my best friend, showed up with takeout and a knowing smile. "Your mom called me, of course." I rolled my eyes. "And what did you say?" Amy laughed. "That you'd get back to her when you felt like it. You rocked it, Chloe. Finally stood up for yourself. Don't let them drag you down again." Her words were a balm. When my parents and Jessica returned, I was waiting for them at their house, surprisingly calm. Their faces were a picture of exhaustion and irritation. "Well, I hope you're happy, Chloe," Jessica started. "Happy about what?" I asked. "Our trip was a nightmare," my mom snapped. "Awful motels, terrible food, all because we couldn't afford anything decent last minute."
"And the tours?" Jessica chimed in. "Oh, wait, there weren't any. So embarrassing to show up and be told there was no reservation." "Sounds rough," I replied calmly. "But you wanted to take Jessica, remember?" "That's not the point," my mom retorted. "You knew we couldn't afford it. You set us up." I stood up. "No, Mom. I planned a trip for the three of us. You cut me out. If Jessica needed it so badly, you should have planned it yourselves. And you're lucky I didn't cancel your return flights." "You're so dramatic," Jessica rolled her eyes. "And you're so entitled," I shot back, my patience gone. "Do you have any idea the sacrifice that trip took, or do you just assume things magically appear?" They were stunned into silence. "I spent years being responsible, and you all took it for granted." "That's not fair," my mom tried. "No, Mom. Unfair is how you treated me. You chose her, as always, so I chose to stop being your doormat. You didn't want me on the trip. You don't get to enjoy the benefits of my hard work without me." I grabbed my bag. "Glad you're back safely, but nothing's going back to how it was. I'm done." I walked out to their angry, guilty calls, but I didn't look back. Chloe is really showing them, isn't she? If stories like this inspire you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's free and you won't miss any new content from the channel. The drive home after the confrontation was light. For the first time, I wasn't worried about their reaction. I had changed. They could be angry. I was done living for their expectations. Amy, my friend, supported me. You have self-respect now. Don't let them diminish you again. And she was right. In the following weeks, I started rebuilding my life. I redecorated my living room, explored new places, started a journal focused on my dreams. That energy once spent pleasing others was now mine. Looking at the money from the canceled trip, I felt not regret, but determination. I opened my laptop and searched Solo Trips Caribbean. A few weeks later, I booked a solo trip to Aruba. It wasn't to prove a point to anyone. It was for me. The trip was liberating. Walking on sandy beaches, seeing incredible turquoise waters, eating fresh seafood with no schedule, no one to consider but myself. One afternoon on Eagle Beach, I wrote in my journal new dreams, learn to sail, take a photography course, goals that reflected the life I wanted. There, I realized I didn't need their approval. I was enough. Upon returning, my parents tried a softer approach. "Maybe we can talk soon," read a text from my mom. I didn't reply immediately. It would be on my terms. A week later, she called. "How was your trip?" she asked, her voice gentle. "Amazing," I replied. She admitted, "Maybe we handled things poorly. We didn't realize how much it would hurt you." Poorly is an understatement. And Jessica? Does she feel bad or is she still blaming me? She's upset, but I think she knows she could have acted differently, she conceded. "Mom, this is about years of favoritism. I'm not fixing everything anymore," I stated. "You understand. We'll try to do better. We don't want to lose you," she said. The words tugged at something, but guilt wouldn't guide me anymore. I need to see real effort, not just apologies. She promised I would. In the following months, I held my boundaries. I responded when I felt like it, not rushing to fix anything. I focused on me. A pottery class, hiking, each step was a reclamation. Watching the sunset from my balcony one day, I realized how far I'd come. I was no longer a doormat. I valued myself, set boundaries, fought for what I deserved. I was, finally, free. So, what did you think of Chloe's journey to freedom? Did this story resonate with you or make you think? Tell us in the comments below what city or country you're watching this story from. We love to know where our viewers are. And of course, if you enjoyed this turnaround and want more empowering stories of women who triumphed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever a new video drops. Your support is crucial. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next story.